this lecture, we're going to do our preparation for the tapping session to release fears around being judged for being psychic and using your psychic abilities, or being a healer and using your healing abilities. This is such a huge issue for psychics and healers, and I know myself, my own journey has been very challenging, and it's taken a lot of self-healing on myself to get to the point where I feel confident putting myself out there as a psychic and a healer and saying, yes, I am intuitive, this is what I do for a living. And probably like many of you, I've come from a background and groups of friends that don't really believe in psychic or healing, and they don't believe in my gifts, and so it's been a bit of a struggle for me, and I'm sure you can appreciate what it's like when our friends and family and society at large who are really judging being psychic, or really does have a lot of stuff and condemnation around using anything that's beyond the scientific. And so as intuitives and psychics and healers, this can be really quite heartbreaking. And there can be a lot of stuff inside us around this. So this tapping session will help heal and shift this so you feel less afraid of being judged by others. So where does the fear of being judged for being psychic and using your healing abilities come from? Religious upbringing can be a huge one if you've grown up in a strict religious background. And even living in a Christian country, that in itself can interfere with how people perceive what you're doing as a psychic and a healer. Even having an atheist and scientific background can affect, because obviously the scientific community believes if you can't see it or prove it, it's not real. A general lack of self-worth can contribute hugely to being afraid of being judged, and you can experience this no matter what profession you're in. So that's a generic one. And the big one is comparing yourself to others. This is such a huge blocker. So you might be looking around and seeing other psychic and healers and they're doing really well, and you've heard that they're really spot on and accurate, and you might feel really insecure then about your own abilities and raise those expectations of yourself, and bring in a lot of fear that other people will judge you. So these are all different experiences and blockages that can come around being judged. So what are the damaging results if you fear being judged of being a psychic and a healer? Big one is living in constant fear of being attacked, either psychically attacked or verbally attacked. So being worried people are going to confront you, like clients or friends and family, calling your names or condemning you for using your psychic gifts and abilities. Over my years working with psychics and healers, I've really seen how a lot of them will try to stay small out of fear that they'll be seen and exposed, and maybe worried they're going to be seen as a fraud, and they get very anxious, and as a result they try to really keep themselves really small and prevent getting out there because they're afraid that they'll be judged. And so they try to sabotage themselves, and they can be a real struggle for them, and they can end up in a lot of financial survival around this decision, and that can be a really damaging result. Some healers and psychics can sabotage themselves in really strange way, like they might start getting a big client list and things are flowing, and then they'll get really sick, or suddenly freak out and start cancelling clients and create some kind of crazy drama in their lives. This will prevent them from getting themselves out there and making a bigger name for themselves. And this can come from this huge paralyzing fear of being judged for being psychic, and being judged for tapping into that beautiful third eye and trying to help others. And another one can be struggling to express yourself and your purpose. And this is really heartbreaking for healers and psychics. I've seen so many psychics and healers feel really called to be psychics and healers and have this incredible fire and energy inside them. But there's so much fear that they'll be condemned and judged that they just can't take those steps that they need to take. They can't take those risks, and they really struggle a lot with unhappiness, and they fill those voids with drinking or eating or other destructive, harmful behaviours just to avoid stepping into their true purpose. And as a result, their souls really suffer, and they can really experience a lot of stress and unhappiness. So some of the positive results that we can expect after doing this EFT tapping session around being judged is that you'll learn to trust yourself, and you'll learn to trust that you won't be attacked, and you'll have an increased motivation in your power, and you'll feel more encouraged, and you'll take bigger risks. And you'll take more risks to put yourself out there as a psychic and a healer, which is obviously amazing. You'll feel more confident around taking those big steps, and you'll trust yourself more, you'll trust your gifts, and you won't be so focused on being judged that all those fears will dissipate, and you'll feel more like, okay, this is who I am now. And, you'll feel that presence and purpose. And you'll be really more connected with your purpose and identifying with that and putting it out there into the world and honoring yourself and honoring your gifts and honoring your journey. So we're going to begin the tapping session in the next lecture. And as always, even if you feel like this isn't what you're going through right now, it's really helpful to tap along to absorb the benefits. And there is the PDF attached, which you can print out and tap along.